Wherefore, Series 2, Episode 12. The app in Simon's head has started mapping places where the ice is breaking down and is recording the species of any corpses released from said ice. Sometimes this happens when he is awake, but it also happens during his many relentless work-related dreams. He sleeps on the couch all the time now. Philip and the other Simon are doing just fine without him in the bed. Increasingly, Simon feels that he is the other Simon, the one who does not belong. If it wasn't for the lockdown, he would leave. As his work is solitary and out of doors, he is able to carry on with it despite the pandemic. He is glad to be out of the house, free to move, and also feeling guilty about his own freedom. So many others are largely trapped. The daytime feels like some sort of dystopian nightmare, but his dreams are much worse. He half expects to see the frozen creatures as he makes his rounds, going where the app on his computer directs him. In the dreams, it is the way their lips are always pulled back from their teeth that disturbs him most. He has no idea why. Tonight should have been Professor Bob Fry's lecture on the history and folklore of Ditchley Yat. Simon had signed up for a ticket as soon as he saw the poster on the Lansdowne board, afraid it might sell out. Now the event is delayed and his questions go unanswered. He has a powerful sense that this lecture might have saved him. Most days he goes online and thinks about trying to track the professor down. There are so many questions to ask, so much he needs to understand about the madness swallowing him. Why is he so haunted by Ditchley Yat? Why does his dreaming self keep trying to go there? Why does the app in his head keep logging his distance from the mythical valley? And why are the numbers so impossible? Why is there an app in his head, even? Who is running it? Simon sees a bench nearby and hurries to it. He sits down and has a little cry. One of the better features of lockdown is that no one is around to see him doing this. The app on his computer makes a little noise. It wants him to estimate how large a Chartist meeting could take place on this bench. Simon has no idea what a Chartist is and is afraid this is some sort of trap. After all, no meetings of any sort should be taking place right now. He types in a random number and has another little cry. On the following day, Lansdowne sends him an email. Professor Bob Fry's talk is moving to Zoom. Simon rejoices. It is the first time he has felt hopeful in a long time. When the night of the Zoom talk comes, Simon takes his laptop and sits in his car so as not to be disturbed. The lighting is very poor, and the professor is for some reason rather a long way from his camera. His voice carries, but his face remains largely invisible. It seems deliberate. It seems as though he has something to hide. Simon finds this compelling. There is a brief introduction to the controversy of Ditchley Yat, and then the professor embarks on an exploration of local sayings relating to Ditchley, as recorded for posterity by the Reverend Spodling and others. For a place that arguably does not exist outside of myth, Ditchley has provided us with a remarkable number of local sayings. In my own research among older members of the community, I found that many people whose families come from the area remember their own grandparents using these aphorisms. Even in relatively recent history, Ditchley has been significant in the minds of local people. So we have the phrase, like taking turnips to Ditchley, meaning providing something unneeded. Turnips are important in Ditchley-related folklore, of course. To be as thick as a bowl of Ditchley pottage is a well-known local insult. My personal favourite is as much use as a Ditchley mutton spoon. The derivation here is unclear, as is the meaning, but it does not seem to be intended as a compliment. What, we may ask, is significant about Ditchley mutton? Or Ditchley spoons? Is the spoon made of mutton? Or is it simply an expression of the preposterous? It occurs to Simon that he could very easily fall in love with Professor Bob Fry. It's the voice, the calm certainty, and the knowledge. Sat in his car in the darkness in the otherwise empty street, he feels less alone than he has in a long while. Professor Bob Fry would understand about his being a were-rhubarb. He feels certain. After a while, the lecture turns towards the nature of Ditchley and its hiddenness. I think that it's important to point out that the place is not some frozen-in-time Brigadoon sort of thing. Ditchley has many links to the contemporary world, even though this might seem impossible. A modern visitor to Ditchley might think it looks rather quaint, but not unnervingly so. And yes, there are accounts of visits within the last 50 years. Ditchley experiences are not simply something from another time existing only in folklore. I have spoken with people who claim direct experience of the valley. So, what might the modern visitor expect to find in Ditchley? There will, of course, be many turnip, beetroot and pea fields surrounding the village. There will be an oxen working the fields, but also perhaps a small dated tractor or traction engine or two. It could be mistaken for some sort of heritage farm if you did not know better. There is electricity in the houses, but no streetlights. I have it on good authority that Ecotricity have provided a wind generator for the village, but it is not clear that they know this. It is not in any of the Ecotricity records, but maintenance crews regularly visit and then can't quite recall where they've been for that day. Interviews with those workers have been interesting, to say the least. Simon wonders if he should apply for a job at Ecotricity instead. He feels the call of Ditchley more deeply than ever. There is an impulse upon him to just start the car and drive and trust that he will somehow find the way. Except he feels that cars probably shouldn't go there, and he is afraid of being stopped by the police when he has no easily explicable reason for being out and about. He sighs and goes back to listening to the commentary on the Church of St. Eardwulf, the village pub, which is of course called the Shrew and Turnip, and the reputation the villagers have for always being remarkably friendly to any visitors.